Every single person remembers the first finish of 2025. It belongs to that woman right over there, Nicole Funga. It is so great to talk to you, Nicole. How you been?
Great. Thanks, Blake, for asking. It's good to see you. It's good to see you around too when we're in training.
Oh yeah, no, it's always good when I get the chance to drive up there and be around for a little bit. I'm in St. George now, so a little bit further
Well,
away than we used to be, but do love those
okay.
people over at Agima. I want to start things off with that finish a few months ago. That was unbelievable. And I just kind of want to get your perspective on it and kind of what you were seeing in that fight that lent up to that finishing blow.
So specifically in that finish, I was looking for a body shot because I was looking to, I just thought it would be cool eventually to get somebody with a body shot and that be the thing that stops them. So that's what I was kind of just looking for. I did injure her and I could see that I did because as soon as I landed that kick, even though she caught it, she let go of it. And as soon as she let go of it, I seen her like drop her hands and then she breathed. She like did a deep breath out and I was like, oh, I got her. Okay, I'm gonna take advantage of this while she's injured. And so that's why I just pursued her after that.
What does a knockout like that feel like in terms of the actual contact? Because I've heard different things from different people.
Um, well, I don't have anything else to refer it to because this is my first one, but for me, it surreal because I wanted to finish her with a knockout. That was seriously my number one goal was to knock her out. But I it honestly happened so quickly. I didn't know that I knocked her out until I looked. I knew that I connected, but my thought was connect, and then I saw her body drop, but I thought maybe she tripped, and so then I was gonna finish with a couple of hammer fists, but then I saw her like done, and so I was like, okay, go to my corner. So it was like I don't know, like it was cool, like really exciting, but also I wanted to make sure she was all right. So I don't know. I think I was like a mix of emotions once it happened. So
How
but
did
yeah.
you kind of deal with those emotions in the moment? I can't remember specifically, but obviously you said you went over to your corner. Was that difficult to kind of process that whole thing in that exact moment?
Yes and no. Yes, that I think it was like a pinnacle of the efforts that I've been putting into my training between like studying film and then training in the gym and working specific techniques and specific things in our practices to like specifically target this fight as we work towards each fight. And so I think when I go in and my goal is to knock her out and then I finished with the thing that I wanted to do, to me it was like I said, just a pinnacle of the work that I've put in and just a testament to the team that I get to train with and all the things that they teach me. But also in the moment, I am in there as a contracted fighter to just win a fight. I'm not there to do anything more than that. I'm not there to like harm people or put them out for the rest of their careers or whatever. I just knew that I wanted to finish the fight. So when I finished that and I saw that she was done, then I was like, okay, I need to go to my corner until I know that she's all right. Because Agima, they really foster like a community of sportsmanship, respect, those kind of things. And so I think that because I knew who I was representing when I'm in that cage, then I was like, okay, go back to my corner and I'll wait until they say otherwise.
Speaking of your gym, did Court and Day know that the knockout was the specific goal of this bout?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. And I think that though it's because I was like, that's what I want to do. And they were like, okay. But they were also like, if things get too like if you're not doing as well with your striking as we would want you to, then we're gonna go for the takedowns. And so that was the strategy. Um and because that was my what I wanted to do, they supported me, but they were like, always have your backup. So yeah, they knew that that was what I wanted to do.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was you had a handful of losses in the lead up to this one, long layoff as well. Did you feel a lot of pressure coming into this one, given the losses, but also you hadn't been in the cage in a long time?
No, I to me it was like a reset. Like I was starting back over again. from zero, kind of. And I think that that's my mindset going into my fight career in general is like every fight is a new fight with no expectations on what I should or should not do in this fight. It's just go in and perform to the best of my ability. This is something that I was talking to Court about is that when I'm a really good test taker. And so in school, I've never had like severe anxiety or things like that when it comes to test taking, but it's because I am okay with my studying and I feel confident in the things that I learned, but I also know that when it comes time to the test, I can't do anything more. I've already done the studying and all that kind of stuff leading up to it, and if I don't know the thing, then that's what I'll find out in the cage, like at the test, technically. And so that's where how I look at my fight camps is I'm preparing for the test, I'm studying up, I'm doing the practicing the things that I need to, and then in the cage is where I test where my skill level is at. And if it's something that I lose, then like if I lose in the fight, then I know that that's something that I need to work on in the future. So for me, this fight was just a redo, as a start over kind of a thing. Yeah.
That takes me back. How did you get started in the sport of MMA in the first place? To be completely honest with you, Nicole, I remember your very first day at a game. I doubt you remember
I do
that.
remember you actually. You were one of the nicer people that were, I mean, not nicer, but like one of the more social people. So you're just like, hey, how's it going? Yeah.
I very specifically remember, and it was it's so great to see where you've been able to take this fight career and all those things. But how did you step through those doors for the very first time?
I, I was inspired by the Jacek and Weili Zhang fight, the one where they just went at it for all 5 rounds, and by the end, Jacek, she was unrecognizable because of how bad it was. And after that fight, I was like, babe, telling my husband, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And he goes, you want somebody to do that to you? And I was like, no, no, no. I'm going to do that to somebody. Not out of being vicious, but like I would like to do that. It's a challenge. Like that's a good challenge. Look at yeah. So anyways, I was like super inspired by that. And I am a type of person that once I put my mind to something, like once I make up my mind, then it's going to happen. So then I just started looking up gyms in the area, and I live super close to Agima, and so that was the first thing that I found. And then I looked at Wasatch, and there were a couple of other jujitsu gyms around, but as far as like total MMA stuff, it was Wasatch and Agima were the two that were local. So I looked up their like reviews and things like that. But because Agima was so close, I decided to do that one first. And my first day was so great. The team, whoever was there for jujitsu, all the people that I rolled with were super welcoming, and they were willing to coach me during my first day. Yeah, and I felt really comfortable there. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm probably just going to stay here. I don't think I need to try anything else out. And that's and okay, this is my favorite story to tell because I got into the gym and I was like, yeah, and I met somebody was like, hey, you're gonna have to meet Dane and Amy. They're the owners. And so I did, and I was like, hi, Dane, my name's Nicole. I'm new here, but and I'm gonna do MMA. And I was so excited about it. And when I told him that, he goes, okay. Cool. Nope, that's great. Let's just have you come in for and see how you do, and we'll have you do jujitsu for a few months and have you do striking. And so I was like, okay. But the way that he was approaching it, I was like, I don't think this guy's taking me seriously. So I kind of waited back on it for a minute, and I was like, I don't think he knows that I'm really going to do this. Later, after I took my first fight, maybe a few fights in, then I had the conversation with Dane. I said, I remember my first day, and you were really like, yeah, let's do this. And I didn't feel like you really believed me. And he goes, well, to be honest, it's because we get so many people in. Like, first day in, they're like, I'm doing MMA. And after being in the gym for a while, I'll train and there'll be new people. And because I knew how it was as a new person, I would like to roll with the new people to help them feel comfortable. And a lot of them say they're going to be in and do MMA. And probably like 80% of them I haven't seen again.
You know, I think of that Zhang Wei Li as well as Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight. That was 5, 6 years ago. Do you ever look back and kind of think, man, that seems like a lifetime ago compared to what I know now and what I've experienced as a fighter?
Yeah. Seriously, it is I had my fourth baby right before I started training, and so I was like, this will be like a good way to get me back in shape and things like that. So I don't have very much film from when I first started, but I wish I would have filmed myself my first day, my first kickboxing class, like all those things. I wish I would have filmed myself because I know how awkward and uncoordinated I was when I first started versus now. Not that I'm super coordinated still, but I've made improvements, and so I wish I would have had some. But yeah, it's been a good road though.
That's one of the big things I wanted to ask you about. Where have you seen the growth, specifically as a fighter, from fight one up until now?
I think my biggest growth has always happened in between my losses. So my first loss was striking heavy, and I seen that I didn't use my transitions from my striking to my grappling as well as I could have. And then once we were on the ground, I didn't use my grappling as much as I could have. And so seeing the transition from that and then going into my next fight with my next loss with Melody Schrock when she got me with the arm bar and knowing that there are certain positions that I'm putting myself in to get myself in those situations. And then also with the wrestling as well with Aaron Scheidt, those losses I think is what has helped me the most creating progress, anyways, because it helps me gauge where I'm at and what weaknesses I have. So yeah, I think the growth has happened there. Specifically, I think with I'm coming in with like no experience. So I think that my progress has been overall. Like my striking has gotten so much better from my first to now, and my grappling has gotten so much better from my first till now. So
When I think of you, I think of so many people who support you. I mean, you talked about it in your post-fight interview, but people from all over the globe are watching Nicole Funga fight. Did those people subscribe from day one, or was it kind of a thing that slowly happened as you know you garnered wins and you continued to do it and you said, "Hey, I'm coming back."
I think I have a big family between myself and my husband's family. We just have big families. My husband grew up with cousins that are like first cousins that are basically extended siblings. So we just have a huge support system anyway. So a lot of them are here from day one, but some of them are just friends that have been around and in my life. And as I've continued to do it, they were like interested in it in my first fight, but not super supportive, or maybe not just like present or attending or those kind of things, because they were just like, oh yeah, it's one of those one and done type things. But the longer I'm in it, I do gain more and more support, and I see that. I think it's great. I love it.
How many fights do you think you want to do? And maybe that is wins the pro career down the line, or what is your MMA future plans, I should say?
Obviously the goal would be to fight at the highest level, right? So UFC would be the ultimate goal. But I would like to take it one fight at a time and see what progress I can make between each fight. I would like to probably go pro in the next couple of fights, maybe 2026 sometime go pro. And then just work from there and see what we can do. Yeah, so no like number, but
Yeah.
just time wise.
What was it like when you had that video blow up on social media after your knockout? That was such a good video. It was so cleanly produced. I absolutely loved it. I'll be completely honest with you. I was super jealous of it because I thought to myself, that's good content. And as someone who has to make all the Fierce FC content, I thought you did an incredible job.
Thank you. My husband was actually the one who created that video,
Yeah.
and he actually had the idea for it before, but without knowing what the finish would be. And so I think that's what sold it, or that's what converted it way better than what he could have imagined it to be. Because he was like, you are a leader in the church, and so like, or you are in our community church anyways, and so like people to see that are with kids, like that's your general thing is you work with kids, and then to also see that you do the MMA thing, I think that would be like a really cool contrast. And I was like, yeah, I think that's great. So then the fact that I was able to get the knockout, just I that was so much better. And I think what I'm seeing from the reviews and from the comments and things like that, it's a really niche community because it's Polynesians, members of the church, and then people, members of like the MMA community. And so the mix of the three is so uncommon. Oh, and that I'm a female. So like the four, I guess. is like it's so uncommon that I think that's why I got so much traction. I think it's been fun and it's been really cool. I actually had someone reach out to me that is a leader in her church, and she was like, "Hey, I'm actually going to be in town May 16th." And I told her, I was like, "Hey, I have a fight that weekend," because she was talking about coming to train at Adagima. And so I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be fighting that weekend." She's like, "Me and my husband will be in town. We'd love to come watch you." So I thought that that was cool. Just somebody from out of town going to be here in town and they're going to come support and then come train with us. I think that's great.
Yeah, has anyone from your ward approached you and been like, "Hey, I saw this come across my screen on Instagram the other day. What the heck is this?"
Yeah, actually, so because I'm stake level, so it's all the wards in the area. I go to different wards on different Sundays, and I've had different people come up to me and say, "Hey, my kids were just showing me the video of you. So you fight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I do. I do." And so it's gained a lot of recognition that way, where people are approaching me and saying, "Hey, are you the one that fights?" Yeah, that's me. But I think what's even cooler, because like I said, of how like niche it is, there have been multiple people that have contacted me out of state that are my friends, and they're like, "Hey, someone just shared a video of you with me." And I was like, "Hey, I know that person." Like my brother-in-law is in Vegas. One of my training partners, she said someone reached out to her from Florida. I've had people from like St. George and things like that. People reach out and say, "Hey, my family members are sending me your video saying like, look at this girl, she's cool." I thought that was pretty cool.
That is great. I think one part that's so interesting about you, Nicole, is not only are you a fighter, but you're also a mom. You've got five, if I'm correct. Is that
Yeah, yeah.
what is it like balancing that life between being a mom of five kids, but also being a very active athlete?
Um, I would definitely not be able to do the things I do without a support system. I have a really great support system between my husband, my in-laws, my siblings, my parents. When I need things to get done, my oldest is 10 and she's so helpful. My oldest two are girls. And so between 10 and 9 years old, and they are so helpful with the household. My kids know their routines during the day and during in the evenings. And my trainings are mostly in the evening. And so we've got a good family routine going on in the evening that things are pretty smooth. And like I said, my husband is home and he is such a great dad. He really is. The kids are here and he takes care of them, and they're still alive when I come home from practice, so that is great.
Do the kids get to watch the fights? Do they come? How do they, or do they even know what you're doing?
They do know what I'm doing. They knew what I was doing when I first started, because I would be carrying around my bag with my workout stuff in it. And my one of my daughters was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" Because she would see my boxing gloves, and I said, "Well, I'm training to do mixed martial arts, and so we do boxing, kickboxing, and we do jujitsu." Like at the time, they were doing jujitsu as well. And so she was like, "Mom, like boxing, like punching?" And I was like, "Yeah, boxing, punching." And she said, "Mom, you should not do that because you're going to get hit in the face and you're just going to get hurt, Mom." And I was like, "Come on, girl. You got to have more faith in me than that." But I did come home from practice one time and I had a bloody nose. So I had a tissue in my nose. And she goes, "Mom, what happened?" And I said, "Well, I got punched in the face at practice." And she said, "See, Mom, this is what I was saying. This is why I was saying you shouldn't train." So they're super supportive. They've been to like my first two or three fights, but um it's just because of it being so late at nighttime, generally when we get done, that it's just easier for us to have my in-laws watch them. And my mother-in-law doesn't particularly like to watch my fights. She's really nervous when I get fights and stuff. So they stay at home with her. So the last couple of fights, they've stayed at home.
That brings me to my next question. What are your nerves like in the back? Are you one that's a little bit more jittery? Are you constantly thinking about it? Or are you more calm and cool?
I think that I'm calm and cool. I mean, you'd have to ask people who are in the back with me, but I think I'm calm and cool. Like I said, I'm a good test taker. My thoughts are, when I get into the back, is like I've done everything I can do. If nothing else, it's just having my mind be clear so that when something occurs in the fight, that I'm able to respond in the right way, or I'm able to take like this last one, take advantage of opportunities that I see. So I don't think I get nerves. Yeah.
Do you ever worry, and I hope this doesn't sound too deep, but do you ever worry that maybe you haven't done enough? Or have you ever been in the back and gone, I didn't train as much or as hard as I should have? Or has every single walk so far been, yes, I have had, a great camp and I feel great and I'm ready to go and I've done everything that I can?
I think when I'm training, I do try and keep myself in a realistic headspace where I'm like, I'm definitely not the best, but I am confident in the skills that I have. And when I'm going in, really it is just a test to see where my skill level is at. And if I lose, it's because my opponent is better than me. And I'm okay with that. It helps me to learn. So I think most of my walks it has been that way. All right, we're at moment of truth. We'll see what I've learned. And if what I've learned is better than or more than what they've learned. And that's really what it is.
You faced a handful of tough opponents. Do you have a specific one that you would say was maybe the toughest?
I would say, I don't know, maybe Melody Schrock, and I would say that because one of the finish, but two, the leading up to it, I had watched a little bit of her jujitsu film, and she's a super tough opponent when it comes to grappling, and obviously you can see by her record. So I think for me, she would have been my toughest one. It's just because of how calm she is when she's in there, and she does pursue submissions actively. And so because of that, I think she was my toughest one.
Coming up just a couple of weeks away, you've got Roxy Sosa. What do you make of her and what are you looking forward to in that walk?
I only know that she has boxing history, and so the strategy will just be to, I don't know, do my thing. I guess. I guess another knockout would be great. And I told Zach if he's gonna match me, just match me with a bunch of people that I can knock out. But you really never know. It doesn't it can happen to anybody. And so looking forward to this next one, just I assume she's gonna be a tough fight. And I assume all my opponents are going to be a tough fight. I never want to go in and underestimate them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how, if with her being a solid boxer, just to see how my striking compares to her based on her experience level. And if that doesn't work, then we'll jujitsu background. Yeah, we'll get that.
May 16th. Cannot wait for it.
Yeah.
Nicole Funga, part of our 2 day event going down live from the Masonic Temple. Nicole, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Blake.